So this weekend edition of the All NBA show with Marc Stein, we got a curveball. We recorded it on Friday afternoon before the Bucks Nuggets game where Giannis got hurt. So we had a whole segment in here about Giannis trade speculation that was almost immediately nullified with his injury concerns. Of course, he's out for quite a bit, got hurt in that Friday game. So we cut that part out. We decided to cut it out. You'll see us reference it a few times, but just know we recorded something that we decided to scratch. Let's get to the episode. What is up, everybody, and welcome to a weekend edition of the All NBA show powered by FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet at FanDuel.com/AllNBA. I'm your host, Adam Mares, and I'm joined by the international man of mystery and intrigue. It's Marc Stein, fresh back from Europe. Marc, how you doing?
Adam Mares. Did you survive without me? Did you survive when I was in England?
Not really, to be honest. I'm excited that you were back here. And I'm honestly very curious how it went. We saw the games that were out there. We saw how they went. But I'm curious, first of all, how you enjoyed your trip. And of course, I'm interested to hear what things people were talking about while you were out there.
Well, look, if there's NBA basketball in England, which is a country I visit at least 4 times a year in my old age because I'm that addicted to the soccer over there, you know I'm going to be giddy about it. I had a blast. It was amazing. I mean, Ja Morant was so beloved in London. He made it for an afternoon. I'm not kidding you. Southeast London felt a little bit like Memphis because Ja got the loudest ovations. He had probably his best game of the season, I would say. But yeah, look, a lot of it is Berlin and London on this trip. Next January, it's going to be Manchester and Paris. The January after that, it's going to be Berlin and Paris. And these cities are not chosen by accident.
Yeah.
The NBA wants to be in all these cities and will be in all these cities when NBA Europe starts. We're still not sure exactly when. October 2027 is the target date. Does it have to wait a year after that? But look, the league is going full steam ahead on this. On Monday, I rushed back because it was like, okay, Stein, you've been in England long enough. You watched 3 soccer games. You spent a weekend covering the NBA. Get home and start covering the trade deadline again. But the day I left on Monday, Adam Silver hosted power brokers from all over the European soccer world, the European sporting community, potential TV partners, just all kinds of heavy hitters from international sport. He basically had them all at a hotel in London to sell these potential partners on how big the NBA thinks NBA Europe is going to be. And yeah, man, there's a lot to unpack with this. I mean, it's an interesting and ambitious, but also risky project that they're trying to pull off.
So you mentioned that these cities are not chosen randomly, but it's also not that many cities that you just listed off: London, Manchester, Berlin, Paris. I'm trying to get the early details as much as we can.
It's ultimately going to be a 12 to 16 team league. And the way it's kind of been laid out is you're going to have 12 franchises that are locked in and then ways for other franchises to qualify and claim those other spots because they want to have, some semblance of promotion and relegation to bring other teams in. But look, the early rumbles, there's a lot of talk about PSG, the French soccer power, about them having a club in this league, Bayern Munich, the German soccer power having a club in this league, Real Madrid, the Spanish soccer power having a club in NBA, basically leaving the Euro League to play in NBA Europe. The NBA wants Barcelona as well. You can't have Real Madrid without Barcelona. You need that rivalry. I think there's optimism that you'll see those teams or most of those teams in NBA Europe. Tony Parker owns a team in France. He wants his club in the league. I think there's a decent chance that happens. The England piece of it is actually, and this is what, selfishly putting just my goggles on, this is what matters to me. Again, anything that if basketball gets me over to England more than I already am, I'm going to be pumped. But they want a team in London. They want a team in Manchester. The league, the current basketball league in England is nowhere close to it's not like the leagues in Spain and Germany and Italy, Greece, Turkey. This top level basketball is not currently played in England. So the question is, what kind of team is going to be in London and what kind of team is going to be in Manchester? These are essentially going to be expansion franchises, but there's this wrinkle where if specific soccer clubs own the basketball team in England, basketball fans who like rival soccer teams are not necessarily going to be very happy about that. So I'm not sure in London and England that we're going to see soccer teams get directly involved with these franchises. But look, I'm probably going way too granular on this. This league is going to happen. This league's going to happen. The NBA is full throttle, full into it, and it's just a matter of, can it happen in 18 months? Can they really start in time for the 27-28 season? Is it actually going to be 28, 29? But, the other thing again is like, I'm so England centric when I look at this thing. Are basically brand new basketball franchises with good players, with EuroLeague level players, but not necessarily NBA level talent. How will they draw in England? How will they land?
Right. And I have to imagine, part of what these weeks are all about, getting people out there. And so when you say Ja Morant was a superstar, a rock star out there, that makes me curious. It makes me think there was at least some excitement for these games. So
but that's
what was
thing.
The excitement
They
level?
Want Ja Morant. They're not going to get Ja Morant.
Well, I understand that.
And that.
I understand that.
And here, let me actually, now that I remembered exactly who I'm talking to, now let me really bring you in on something that's going to matter to you. We know the most passionate basketball fan bases in Europe. It's the Balkan countries. It's the Olympiacos Panathinaikos rivalry in Greece. Turkey. It's Fenerbahce and Efes in Turkey. Now, I think we'll see a club from some of those countries, but like, you want those clubs that have the history, that have the fan bases where it's life or death when those, in Serbia, when Partizan plays Crvena Zvezda, like that, Brian Windhorst, our friend, just went there and said it was one of the greatest basketball experiences of his life. Are those kind of I want to see those teams in NBA Europe, but I don't know that NBA Europe is going to get all those teams away from the EuroLeague, and the EuroLeague's threatening legal action. So there's so many wrinkles here, and there are still so many things we do not know.
Yeah. Well, I have to imagine the difficult part about Serbia is the money, right? Is there going to be enough money in that country? But I have to imagine in Athens, in Turkey, in Istanbul,
you know what though? Italy, actually, look, even for Real Madrid and Barcelona, if the NBA is seeking 500 million to $1 billion, which are the ballpark figures thrown out there as an expansion fee, even for those mega clubs in world football, that's a lot of money to pay your way into NBA Europe, which is a startup. It's going to be a startup, and you're going to be going head to head against the EuroLeague on some level. So again, man, that there are still so many more unknowns than knowns, but the fact that heavy hitter clubs like Bayern Munich, like Real Madrid, the fact that they are being talked about as expect to see them in this NBA Europe. Those are significant gets for the NBA, and we'll see what else, assuming those deals get finalized, we'll see what else it leads to.
Well, it's a huge story. I'm super fascinated. I don't know how much. You can let me know in the comments how interested you are in this, but I am interested in it just because it is a major expansion. I know it's separate from the NBA, but it is, to me, the groundwork for the future, a future direction the NBA could go. And that's really what it's all about, they're clearly taking it very seriously. And so I'm curious to follow this as it unfolds and just see what the details are. Let's move back to the NBA though. And let's get, well, first, is there any notes from those games while you're out there? And in particular, I'm curious about Franz Wagner making his return out there. Obviously, he's playing on a home turf. And then all of a sudden he's out for the next couple of games. Is there any storyline around there? Anything people are talking about with his return?
Well, I just think in general, Orlando's season has not gone anywhere near to plan. I mean, not unlike the Knicks, who have had, major struggles here of late. This was supposed to be a wide open Eastern Conference, and teams like the Knicks and Orlando were high on the list that were supposed to capitalize on this opportunity. And Orlando has been so injury laden, so inconsistent. I mean, look, Franz Wagner and Mo Wagner are from Berlin. You knew Franz Wagner was going to do anything he could to get back on the court to make his return. And, didn't play great in that game. I wasn't in Berlin, but, he played okay. Orlando won that game. They were down 20, came all the way back and won. But, again, the game I was at in London was the Ja Morant show. Ja was electric, engaged. I mean, that is the player that, we've only seen on occasion this season, on very rare occasions. And that's why it's a big part of why Memphis has been inviting trade offers for Ja. And Ja's back out of the lineup this week. And Orlando has come home and they're dealing with losses and injuries all over again. And it has been a very bumpy season in the Magic Kingdom.
Let's take a quick break. There's another team I want to ask you about on the other side that was not a storyline 2 weeks ago when we last did a show together, and that is, of course, the Golden State Warriors, who lost Jimmy Butler. I'm going to get your take on what you're hearing around the league on that front. First, let me tell you about FanDuel. Every Friday from 6 to 7:30, it's NBA Happy Hour on FanDuel, your pregame for the weekend. We're talking limited time specials you won't want to miss, boosts, bonuses, surprises, all dropping in the app during happy hour. So before tip-off, check the FanDuel app to see the week's specials. Then make your move before the shot clock expires at 7:30 Eastern. It's the perfect way to start your weekend. A little basketball, a little action, and a whole lot of Friday energy. That's NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 p.m. Eastern, only on FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Must be 21 or older and present in select states. For Kansas in affiliation with Kansas Star Casino, or 18 plus and present in D.C. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY in New York. Also want to tell you guys about Shopify. What kind of dreams did you have when you were a kid? What did you want to be when you grew up? Well, why not start your own business? Maybe you have something you want to sell, or you've been thinking about making or selling. You got to get with Shopify. Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US. 10%. That's crazy. Shopify even powers the ALLCITY merch store. Yes, we have a merch store. You can buy merch. And of course, we run everything through Shopify. And Shopify has you covered with website creation, product descriptions, email and social media marketing, and more. They also have AI tools designed to help you maximize sales. If you're ready to sell, you're ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into... with Shopify on your side. Sign up for the $1 per month trial. That's crazy. What a trial. $1 per month. And you start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity. All right, back here, segment 2 of the weekend edition of the All NBA show. I'm with Marc Stein. You can read him at the Stein line, and you can also hear him talk Mavs at DLLS Mavericks on YouTube. Let me ask you now about the Warriors, because their season, which was already a little rickety, to this point, is completely off the rails with the ACL tear to Jimmy Butler. What are people around the league saying about this? And equally as importantly, does it change what people expect Golden State to do at the deadline?
Yeah, I'd have to say it would. And the Warriors were just in Dallas on Thursday night. First time I've really spent a lot of time around them this season. And, I had the privilege, my last 3 years at ESPN, I was embedded with the Warriors for Sports Center. It was the first 3 years of the 5 years in a row that the Warriors went to the final. So for me, it's always a big deal when I'm in the same city as them and I get to see them play. But this is a shell-shocked team. They are still in just a state of shock because they were playing so well. They had won 12-16. The Curry Jimmy Butler combo was working how management envisioned, and to lose him to a season-ending knee tear, they were already on the prowl to try to do something significant. Of course, with Jonathan Kuminga, when they signed Kuminga in the summer, they signed him to a deal that really was designed for trade. Kuminga makes $22.5 million this season. He's got a team option, not a player option, team option next season for $24.3 million. That deal, again, it was set up with the idea of trading him. And look, they might still trade him, and they are still looking. But the reality now is the whole idea was you have Stephen Curry, Draymond Green, Jimmy Butler. You turn Kuminga into one more difference maker to add to that core, and the Warriors felt like they would have a puncher's chance in the West. But now with no Jimmy, what kind of trade can they realistically pull off just with Kuminga, who makes them good enough in the West? And the answer is, realistically, there is no such trade. I reported on Friday on my Substack that the Warriors are expected to explore, can they do some sort of Kuminga-centric trade to bring back Andrew Wiggins from Miami? But even that would be a trade more for next season than now, because even if they succeeded in getting Wiggins back, they're not a contender this season just by bringing back Wiggins. That would be bringing back Wiggins, and you're hoping that Jimmy Butler returns, as swiftly as possible next season. But what's amazing is after all of this Kuminga chatter, and remember, his restricted free agency was messy, contentious, and it literally consumed July 1 to October 1. Everyone who does what I do in terms of NBA coverage, we wrote about Kuminga nonstop for 3 months. He finally gets this new deal. Everybody thought the trade was going to happen by the deadline. There is the chance now that the Warriors say, you know what? We're better off keeping him through the deadline. See how much he plays in the second half of the season in Jimmy Butler's place to maybe rebuild some lost trade value, because we've seen so little of Kuminga this season. And do you make your Kuminga trade in the offseason? That is at least somewhere on the board for the Warriors right now. So they've got a lot to figure out, but Steve Kerr flat out said it when he was asked, how is Stephen Curry handling this? And, he came out and said, Steph was crushed by the Jimmy Butler injury. It is a hammer blow for this team.
My last question for you, and we'll get out of here, is do people around the league talk at all about the strain in today's NBA with the pace and how spread out everything is, about the idea of trying to make it through an 82-game season with veterans? You've always thought contending teams are going to be veterans. You want to be veteran heavy, but I almost wonder if this new NBA, you got to have a lot of young players, because I don't know if a team of 4 or 5 core players being veterans will make it.
Yeah, I mean, look, the way Golden State, obviously, Stephen Curry and Draymond Green are still there. So, they went with Butler. Their big offseason acquisition was Al Horford. They chose this direction of 30-somethings. But no, I think very much so that teams looked at Indiana's model, which is 2 stars in Halliburton and Siakam, but a lot of speed and a lot of depth. Obviously not, that's not what we see from the Pacers now without Halliburton as he recovers from the Achilles tear. But yeah, look, teams, they're constantly thinking about roster construction, managing the salary cap, draft picks, all those things about team building. But apart from, next to team building, dealing with the injuries and the grind is front and center for every front office in the league. I mean, this is such a huge issue. and everyone is searching for answers. And this season, calf strains have become the two dirty words. When you hear the words calf strain, everybody's worried about them. And yeah, I mean, this is all teams are searching for answers here because the schedule ain't getting shorter. It's not gonna. It's going to be 82 games for the foreseeable future. And I think you're right. I think you have to approach this. You have to get as much youth and depth as you can to get through the regular season. It's brutal.
And I don't think it's slowing down either. I mean, that's the other part of this is the pace and space part seems to be pacier and spacier as we go on, not slower. So it's a real challenge right now just to make it through the 82 game season, and we'll see what the Warriors do. You guys want to subscribe to the Stein Line, especially this time of year where there's always rumors and things swirling around. You want to be first to the news. Check out the Stein Line. He's also at DLLS Mavs, and we're lucky enough that he joins us every weekend for the Inside Scoop. Make sure you're subscribed. Next 2 weeks are going to be awfully interesting with Stein on the show, so you're going to want to be subscribed. Thanks for tuning in. Hit the like button on the way out.